On Monday night that led to 14 points for the Cardinals in that ugly loss the Cowboys took. Zeke even apologized to the team and went back to study all of his fumbles since high school. He put Monday's loss on his shoulders and promised to be better. Take a listen.
You know, I'm supposed to be a guy that this team, this offense can rely on and lean on when things get rough. And, you know, I just wasn't that last Monday night. And, you know, and I was sorry that I promised that I'm going to turn things around for this team.
So, big bro, can the Dallas Cowboys count on Zeke to get them back on track?
No, they can't. Wow. And it's sad because you shouldn't be able to say that about this level of talent in terms of who he is as a player. And certainly this level of investment, over $90 million that you have in Ezekiel Elliott. So here's the problem with Ezekiel Elliott. And it's a problem that everyone has when they find themselves facing adversity. It's not so much can you, but will you get the job done?
Okay.
So you going back to high school and looking at all your fumbles and seeing how they went wrong does nothing for me. I hate when people try to give me some story or some gloss and some nail polish to put on something when really I need you to just look in the mirror and frankly realize you are performing as a shell of yourself.
Okay.
I've been there before. I take shots because I took shots. I've been the guy who has fallen off before and looked in the mirror like, I'm going to blame a lot of people. No, I'm not. I'm going to look at me. Damn it, where are you? And I think that's where Ezekiel Elliott is right now. Let's talk about who he used to be and who he is now. Back then, Ezekiel Elliott, full screen time. Back then, they didn't want me.
Hey, now they hot. They all on me.
Well, let's flip that for Ezekiel. Back then, they all wanted you. Look at the yards per attempt, rookie year to now. 5-1 to 4-1. Rushing yards per game. Goodness, what is going on? 108 to 68, and stop saying they're not feeding him because he gets the rock, y'all. 11 yards per reception down to 6.4. And this is when you know you're coming down the hill. You can hide behind some of these marginal stats and say yards per game, etc. You can't hide from the fact that you're losing your explosiveness. 60 was his longest run rookie year, 24 now. Longest catch, 83 down to 19. Ezekiel Elliott, man, he's not even himself. So before we even get deeper, for me, into his biggest issue, which is his fumbling issue, I just need to see Ezekiel come back. Whoever's wearing number 21 now is not the same guy that was wearing it a few years ago.
You make a great point. Can the Cowboys count on Zeke? Yes, they can.
Yeah.
Yes, they will. And they must. They can, they will, they must. They have no choice, Marcellus. It's almost like what you want the Cowboys to do, just lay down and take this butt whooping. That's not what they can do, and they won't do that. They have to fight. Their back is against the wall, and Zeke has to be the captain. Oh, captain, my captain. I look at it like this. Mike McCarthy did what he needed to do this last game. Go out there and feed Zeke. First 7 plays, they either went to Zeke or attempted to go to Zeke. 11 of the first 14, they went to Zeke or they attempted to go to Zeke in incomplete passes.
Yeah.
You did what you had to do. But just because the experiment didn't work does not mean the formula was wrong.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Like,
Justify.
just because the experiment didn't work does not mean the formula was wrong. The formula is go through Zeke. That is what it has to be. But let me also give it to you like this. What did Aaron Rodgers tell us 2 weeks ago? My down years are other people's best years. That's what Aaron Rodgers said. He said, my down years are other people's best years. Zeke's first 3, his rushing yards per game since he got into the league, 108, 98, 95, and last year, 84. 84 last year. Coming into the league was at 108. But last year, Zeke was still second in the NFL in yards from scrimmage. What's that say? That says that Zeke's down year is still second best in the entire NFL. 1,700 yards from scrimmage, 1,300 rushing yards. So I say this, Zeke still can be that dude, Marcellus. He just has to prove that he is. But he still got it in him.
He still got it in him?
Still got it in him.
From a DNA perspective, yeah, you still got it. Like, it's still the same cell construction, but is it firing the same? No. And I hate to do this to Ezekiel Elliott, but I keep receipts. And these receipts are telling me something that I don't want to even have to say, but I must do my job. I like how you said that they can and they must and they will. It's interesting. I've been in that position before when you're like, I have to pay something, a bill. I must get it done. I got to pay them bills. But the bills don't pay themselves. You know what happens? You have to do something to make it happen. You have to work for it. Ezekiel Elliott, we're acting like right now, being hypercritical. Ezekiel Elliott is fumbling at an alarming rate this year. Ooh, these receipts say different. Let's go to this full screen about Ezekiel Elliott, who wants to eat, but unfortunately, he's dropping the spoon. These are the running backs with 600-plus touches since 2018. For y'all who are trying to act like this is a new story, you haven't been doing your homework or reading your history books. Ezekiel Elliott leads with touches. Okay, but damn, 14 fumbles? And then 7 of them lost since 2018. Let's look at Christian McCaffrey. Oh, he's not losing the ball. Oh, let's look at Joe Mixon. Oh, he's getting the ball. Oh, he's not losing the ball. Only one other person is even comparable to Ezekiel Elliott, and it's Chris Carson. And we're not talking about Chris Carson and Ezekiel Elliott on the same level. Certainly not in investment, and certainly not in terms of responsibilities to this team. Ezekiel Elliott, you can't be top in the NFL in this category and near the mid-pack or bottom in other categories that they need him for.
Marcellus, I believe in laws. I don't necessarily, in some countries, not everybody abides by every law, but there are certain laws in which you must abide by. For example, the law of gravity.
Okay.
If you jump, you're gonna land, okay? You can try to defy it if you wish, but it exists. I also believe in the law of averages.
I like that.
And right now, Zeke's average is still 100 yards a game if you look at the first 6 years since he's come into play. I like to believe in the laws of averages. Well, let me talk to you about this. You're a smart man. You're a smart man.
I'm smart enough to know that ain't true.
No. Here's what you know. His first year, 108, 98, 95, 84, 68. His average still says he's going to get back to the 90s. Does it not?
Oh, no.
Do the math.
I mean, 108 is barely over 100, and 3 of those, and one of them is 32
It still says he's going to get back to the 90, but here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that I like to believe in. I like to believe in the fact that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Okay.
So if Zeke has had all of these bad games, a 2-fumble game, what's that tell me? That the sun is on the horizon. It tells me this. If I'm a Cowboys fan, I got no other choice than to believe that. Think about the rushing defenses he's played. The 5th, the 7th, the 4th, the 8th. Those are the rushing defenses he's played. He's about to play 2 bottom 15 rush defenses.
Okay.
So he's played really tough opponents. What's that mean? He's going to play some really easy opponents because that is how the law of averages work. That's also how the laws of the NFL works.
Yeah.
He's had some tough opponents. Easy opponents are coming the next 2 weeks. He's going to ball.
You made that sound really simple. Like, oh, if you're falling off, you know what? One day you're going to be picked up.
That's how it works.
Or you just continue to fall off, and then we find your replacement, and that's how guys get released, and that's how they become analysts. Oh, that's how this works, too. The law of averages. Here's the thing about Ezekiel Elliott. I understand, big dog. Let me paint some positives for the Cowboys and Ezekiel Elliott, because I could continue to pour on, but I believe in his talent, so I think he has more in the tank than this. Cowboys 6-1 when he reaches 100-plus rush yards. That formula works since last season. Let's talk about them being 22-8 when he gets 25-plus touches. That formula works. The problem is, and I told you I talked to a household name in the division, and already, you know, the players, active players, they kind of whisper it before we can yell it. And they're like, yo, Zeke kind of lost a little off the fastball, big homie. And I was like, I see it, but I'm hoping I am not seeing what the reality is. But if Ezekiel Elliott, who comes out there and swears and promises that he won't fumble the ball, and literally 14 plays into that game on Monday night, fumbled it twice, I can't even trust Ezekiel Elliott. Right now, he is on a prove-it deal in my mind. I need to see the old Ezekiel Elliott now emerge. Until then, big dog, you're on your own with
Let me say this to give Cowboys fans some hope. Zeke's fumbled. He's lost 2 turnovers once in 62 games. There's a 1% chance, a 1.6% chance that Zeke is going to lose 2 turnovers again. It happened once, Marcellus, in his first 62 games. Let me also say this in conclusion.
What? Yeah, you better conclude.
Zeke faced the 4th, the 5th, the 7th, the 8th, and the 11th best rush defense this far. He's about to face the 9th worst and the 11th worst.
We bet.
Zeke is about to start balling, and the Cowboys better hope he does, because he all they got to depend on. Coming up, Antonio Brown could be on his way to Seattle, but I'll tell you why it would be a huge mistake for the Seahawks to sign him. That's next.